Understanding different types of workflows in 3D is super important because it will help you grow as an artist. In this modeling tutorial, we're gonna combine Subd and Boolean workflows so you can start using them side by side. Let's go. Alright guys, let's start with the circle here. So Shift A at the circle, and you want to go here and change the vertex number to 12. We don't need more than that. We're gonna be subdividing it. R, hold Control and rotate it in perspective in orthographic view, and go to edit mode and E, Y and extrude it, and Control R, add some loops. Now I'm gonna be using add-ons because reasons, and if you don't, then you're probably a beginner. And if you're a beginner, you should be downloading our free course, which is called Jumpstart Hard Surface in Blender. Over 65,000 downloads, and you know this course will really solve a lot of your problems, teach you all the basics, and basically give you very solid foundations for Blender, and you can then jump into working with add-ons and speed up your workflow. So I highly recommend you get it. It's free on our website, and the link is in the video description. Alright, now so here what we're gonna do is we're gonna press Ctrl 4 to subdivide it and shade smooth, and I'm gonna now duplicate it, so Shift D, because I want to create a guide mesh and another mesh that I'm gonna be shrink wrapping it. Okay, so this one, which is the duplicated one, let's go to modifiers here and reduce the number of levels of subdivision to 2. You do not want your subdivision levels be higher than on your guide mesh, you know, that's gonna create some really bad shading. All right, so now this one, what I want to do, I want to make it smaller so it actually fits the guide mesh a bit better, because I'm going to be changing its shape. So what we're going to do, we're going to move this origin point to the middle, Shift S, and to geometry. I'm using machine tools. If you don't have machine tools or you don't know how to use it, it's a free add-on. You can watch my videos on how to use them on YouTube. Control A applies scale because we scaled it in object mode. And now you can see that this mesh is smaller. So now what we can do is go to edit mode, select this loop here with Alt, and Alt R. This is edge constraint from machine tools paid version Deus Ex. You need to enable it in preferences. Hold Control, snap it to let's say, yeah, 15 degrees is fine. And then we're gonna grab a knife and cut the shape here. So let's go maybe like this here and something like that, and enter. Actually, you know what, I might actually cut it from here. I think it's gonna be better, maybe. Maybe from here is cool, something like that. Cool. And then we're gonna remove all this rubbish here. Okay, so you know, all that we don't need. Same at the bottom, X, X and delete, not edges, delete faces. And then I'm going to use a mirror from Mesh Machine in this view here, Alt X to the other side. If you don't have it, just simply mirror it with Hard Ops or Blender. Now here I want to sharpen up this corner, so Alt, Control R, and add a loop, and I'm going to move it somewhere here. Press E to align it to this edge. You can flip it with F. And I'm going to grab these edges here and move them a little bit further away, so this area here is not so congested. Now this is not really that important in this case because we're gonna be shrink wrapping, but the edge flow is essential in Subd. So you know, kind of stick to a good edge flow from the beginning if you can. This one is actually rounded. I kind of like it. You could make it a bit more sharp by, you know, moving this one closer, but I kind of like it, you know, rounded, so I'm gonna leave it. Now here on the top, I wanna bevel this, so Control B, that, and then I'm gonna inset this here, so I to inset it. Okay, and I'm gonna go to this menu here and remove the boundary because I don't really need this edge here. Okay, and then I'm gonna press X and delete faces. Now see, the reason why we gonna be shrink wrapping this is because we introduced this these edges here on the top, the curvature has changed, and this is no longer round here on the top, which is why I want to shrink wrap it onto the original shape to, you know, retain this curvature. So now here I want to sharpen these up, so Control R, add the loop here to sharpen this corner. We're gonna need another loop here, so Control R, another loop here, and we could actually move this one closer, GG, and move it closer, and then Alt X with machine tools, with mesh machine. These ones could be moved a little bit further away here, okay, like that. Again, try to, try to maintain a decent curvature. This is really important. Like you see here, we got this bulging effect here in the corner. I don't know if you can see that. But if I change my matcap to something a bit more crazy, you see there's distortion here. This is caused by basically the fact that, the way we run this topology here isn't ideal. So even though we have quads, the problem here is that we have different sizes of quads, okay? And that's what's gonna create issues. So for instance, if I wanted to make this a bit less crazy, I would probably, why am I in render mode? There we go. I would probably move these kind of apart from one another, and this should actually solve a little bit of my problems here, make it flow a little bit better. But I don't really need to mess with this because again, I'm gonna be shrink wrapping, so I don't care, right? So let's go back here to let's go back here to regular matcap, not this one. There we go. And let's shrink wrap it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go here to modifiers, go to shrink wrap, and we're gonna select the base mesh as a target. Yeah, here, boom. You see, and it's gonna flex the entire the curvature is gonna be fixed, and we don't have to worry about the shape. So that's the easiest way to create booleans and crazy shape on Subd. I actually picked up this technique from Chris Blanche from CG Masters. It's a fantastic technique, and I suggest you use it. Okay, so now with this done, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna solidify it. So go to operations, modify, solidify it, solidify a bit up, and now we use the bevel. Okay, so at the bevel, and don't overdo it because remember that you have Subd here running, right? So you don't want these edges to, overlap. Also, this topology here could be a bit better, so we may need to fix it a tad. So GG and move this in here, and GG and move this maybe here. Hang on a second. Let me just turn off this Subd for a second. Yeah, this is not great here. Let's just fix it. Alt X. There we go. And I think this quad here is a little bit too crazy. We probably should move this back here. So G, Y, and move it back here to make it a bit more tight. And I think this is going to help tremendously with this issue here. There we go. This problem is gone in a corner. So I can make a larger bevel. Just don't overdo it because again, if I press Z, you can see that I'm overlapping with the geometry that surrounds this bevel. So don't go crazy, right? And that creates a really nice shape here. Cool, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a cylinder here on top. Probably go 40 because I want to create this camera inside, right? So let's just move it in here. We're going to scale this in front view so it kind of fits in kind of nice and snug. And I'm going to grab this face and extrude it here, okay? And I'm going to scale it just a little bit and move it up like that. And bevel this, okay, create some decent dense topology here at a bevel, and we peachy. Here in the front we can add a lens, so let's just create a chamfer, click on this one, I insert it, E, then we're going to insert it one more time, and then we're going to press Shift Curve Extract to move it outwards, and then we're going to create this lens here in the front. So here what we could do, we could actually add a subdivision, to smooth it if you wanted to. So here we can do is apply all rain. And, this is going to be helpful because we're going to be actually inserting some more shapes in here. So I'm going to grab cylinder, and maybe that's too many. Let's go with like 32 or something and move it in here, and I'm going to scale it, rotate it like this, right? Move it in, make it longer, and I want to introduce some loops here and sharpen this, apply scale, and we're gonna boolean this, okay, union here, right? So now once I apply this, we're going to have to use alt click here with mesh machine, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to Y, and I'm gonna use experimental offset cut. You need to enable it in mesh machine in order to use it. It's under preferences, I just smooth it out, and I'm gonna create a bevel here. It's enough. And then we need to clean these booleans, because you can see we have a lot of shading problems. So alt click here, and boolean cleanup. So just clean it up, and that's peachy. And then here alt click, and then boolean cleanup, right? And it should do. It's not gonna be perfect, but really it is actually quite good. All right. So you don't have to mess around with subd over there, which is going to be annoying. So here, let's just insert that. There we go. Now let's set the bevel on top of it. Cool. Here in the back, we're gonna have to fix a bit this mess here after the it's basically a subd aftermath. Let's just remove this edge here too. There we go. Let's just insert this here. And insert it in, set it closer and out, and we're gonna create like a outlet for a cable here, right? Boom, in the back. Okay, cool. So that works. Now here we need to remove this edge because it interferes with the bevel. So do that. Something else is happening here. Hang on, what the hell is going on? Dissolve this edge and dissolve this edge. There we go. It's aftermath of the subd thing, so just clean it up a bit. And now we're going to save it. Actually, I'm going to let it power save. So here we're going to add a plane, and I'm going to create this bracket here. It's a bit too wide, so SX and scale it, and we're going to angle it like this, and then bring this edge up. We could be actually vertical. It's going to be a bit boring. Let's do something like this. And then this one's gonna be going down, right, like that. Okay, and then we're gonna grab these, Control B, add some bevel, and then we're gonna add some solidification. So add modifier solidify, boom, add some bevel, and cavity is gone again, because of course it is. And now we're going to move the cursor here. This one's actually too thin, I think. Control plus that thing, F, scale it a bit more, and then extrude. There we go. So let's add the cursor here to this face. So when we're gonna add a sphere, it's gonna get added exactly where I want it. GZZ, move it out here, and then move this one down. Enable the enable box cutter. Here the snapping dots, D circle, hold Control and draw a circle here. Go down, press J for boolean, for union boolean, and let's create this kind of a situation here. We could actually make it a little bit larger. So if I scroll and S to make it larger, I just sharpen this, and we're going to chamfer this a little bit, and then inset it and extrude it. Actually, this is too thin. It needs to be thicker. There we go. And extrude it, scale it, boom, and just let's align it here. And make sure that all these parts are actually fitting together. Make it a bit bigger. There you go. All right, cool. So that works. And actually, this one is a little bit too far away, I think. Looks a bit weird. That's better. Cool. So that works. And wait, actually, that still looks weird. Hang on. What I could do here is, let's make this, maybe this one is a little bit too big. I think I made it too big. Hang on. Let's just scale this. So what you need to do is select all these elements here with Control plus, then S Shift Z to Shift Z one more time to scale it on this local axis. Just make it a bit smaller. Yes, I think it's a bit too big. Move it here, and then then it should be peachy, right? Something like that. Cool. So now we got this going on, and here we could just have some cuts. So D, let's just cut this. Whoa, things switched in here. Where's the drawing? Draw origin. There we go. Let's just draw this in here. Press B and slice it, and then we're gonna Do the same thing here, press B and slice it. Then we're gonna Alt X with hard ups to mirror this. Done. And now we need the cable, right? So Shift A at the cube, move it down here. We're gonna press Shift Alt C with Cablerator, hold Control to center the face, and you done. We'll actually press D to increase the tension a bit like that, and remove this cube. Boom. And there you go, guys. You know, there's your camera. We can actually extend it a bit with E, maybe. There we go. And we are kind of done. Now, in terms of, you know, additional details, I would like to divide this camera here in the middle with a bit of a cut. So let's just Control B one of these and Alt T macro. This will create a really nice kind of separation that's sort of separating this camera, dividing the camera into 30-70. It's a really nice detail, doesn't take much to do that, but it's going to really offset it nicely. Now we're gonna have some details being added to this camera. It's gonna look really cool. So we can do it with decals and now materials. So I'm gonna go to this mode here, Shift A the plane, scale it, press, you know, go down, and we can have some fun. So press N. Now I'm gonna be using Material Works. It's our add-on. Grab it. We are actually currently working on new features, which is gonna be edgeware. It's gonna be amazing. So you know, this add-on's been constantly worked on. So I suggest you get it because it's fucking good. Here, just add some muds to it. Now this top could be darker. So what we could do is unlink that. So it's gonna be a separate mod. And we could actually make this a bit darker, right? So the top is a bit dark. I just press 10 here. It's too dark. Let's make it less dark. Something like this would do, I think. This one needs to be glass, of course. So, you know, glass, boom. And these could be basically some kind of, you know, half mud steel or whatever. Right, this could be the same. Not this one. Half mud. Come on. Not this one. This one. There we go. And the cable could be rubber. So just go to rubber and synthetic rubber, and you're done. The rubber is a little bit dark, so you can make it a bit brighter. I think this is better. It's not gonna be so dark in the render. You know what I mean? And the rest is just decals, guys. You know, like we could put here some decals. Again, we have a whole pack of decals, 460 decals and 12 trim sheets. You can get it for like $97, which is going to basically give you enough detail to decal, or, you know, detail anything you want in terms of sci-fi. The info decals, you know, emissive decals, anything you want really. All these are basically included except like 1 or 2 packs. So it's a ton of decals. And decals are a fantastic way of detailing. The same with trim sheets. I'm going to show you how to work with trim sheets here. So let's just grab this this edge here like that, Control plus, and we're going to run the trim here. So let's go to D and let's go with the trim sheet. So let's just, you know, Alt click on that here, and you can scroll through them, you know, just different effects here. I think this one is pretty cool. And then we can add some, you know, some trim here in the back. So here, in fact, let's drop a loop here and add it in here. We can definitely find something here in the back as well. Oh, this will do, right? And then what we can do is we can add some regular decals, like you know, some info decals here. Make it a bit smaller, put it somewhere here. You don't want to put things in the middle, okay, like this will be boring. You want to offset it, okay? You want to offset things because offsetting creates a bit more dynamic scene, right? Also make sure that you're going to be putting things in a way that's going to fit in terms of camera angles. So when I'm going to add a camera, for example, here, and I'm going to be shooting with, let's say, 85mm, which is going to give me a bit more compression. Let's just zoom in and then, you know, zoom out a bit. Like for example, this one feels a bit too close to the edge, so I would just move it a bit, yeah, on the y-axis here. I think it's gonna be a little bit better. You see, I would even move it a bit higher, but this is fine. There's more distance here than the top. Beautiful offset. We could have some tiny detail here, here, and here to kind of pull you around this camera, right? So let's just unlock from view. We could add a very small detail here in the bottom, like this. Make it really tiny, and it's somewhere here. D, adjust, boom, right? It doesn't have to be big, guys. Okay, project. And this is a little bit bright, so probably that would be a good idea to, you know, to match it to something else like that, you know, and then just match the edges. There we go. And this is still bright. Hang on. That's better. Okay. So this one, you know, you can see that, but it's not super aggressive. You can even make it darker if you wanted to. We also need something here in the back, so we could have, you know, some kind of, I don't know, vent or whatnot, right? So adjust, and maybe this one isn't the best example. Maybe something different, like, oh, this one would be interesting, right? So adjust. So there's some kind of a vent here on the top, project. And then we can press D. Now, Decals will not work with Materialworks because Decal Machine doesn't really work with anything that's not BSDF mat. But hopefully next year we're gonna fix this and create some kind of a patch for Materialworks to work with it. But for the time being, you can do something like this. If you know, if you need more mats to play with, you can always create a cube. Right, and you can add a default mat to it. So Alt M with hard ups, add a mat, and then you can make it, for example, darker, right? So let's say go to mat here, and let's just remove the metallic value first. Oh, actually metallic is fine, but let's make it rougher, and let's make it darker. Okay, so it kind of matches more or less this mat. You can even sample a color if you want to, right here. And then you can use this color, which is material, to drop it on these edges here around. So watch D, match D and hold shift, right? D and hold shift, you can scroll through it, see, boom, matte. And this matches perfectly with the surface here, right? So there's a way you can cheat at the moment using Materialworks. Unfortunately, it's not working out of the box. This could be a little bit further away. So GY, move it somewhere here, there we go. Here too, I would like something here in the bottom. Not sure it's gonna be too much, but maybe something here, like a clip of some such, maybe some screw, whatever, you know, something here on the side. Project, and then, you know, match it. D, hold shift, this is important, and then match it with the environment. Boom, and you have a screw, right? So you see, the reason why I'm putting all these is because in fact this one should be darker as well. So D, match D and shift, because you have to match both, yeah, outside and then the inside, you see what I mean? So these are subset decals, meaning they have two layers. And this is gonna create a triangle here that's gonna basically help you to move around this camera. We could have some additional info here in the back. I wouldn't overdo it with color, for example. I would go with something black and white, because otherwise it's going to pull too much attention. But we could add something cool here. Maybe one of these. Small stick, what is it? That doesn't really fit, but no one can read it, so it's fine. Adjust, by the way, this is from my decal, Japanese decal pack, and they come with translations. So if you hover over, it will tell you what it is, right? If you can't read Japanese. So project. Now, when you do something like this, I would really recommend changing color, because this is too white. So what you can do is click on that thing, and you can either drop the alpha here, right, like this, or you can just drop the color. So adjust that and remove the saturation, and then you can, you know, adjust it. You can make it slightly less white. Okay, don't make things so, you know, so strong because it's not good. And see, now you're being pulled all the way up here, down here. That's kind of cool. So now this one, let's just go through the camera. Let's adjust the view. Now, when you know, rendering something like this, what you want to do is you want to create an infinite background. It's like a nice slopey thing. But you also, what you want to do is you want to make sure that this camera is gonna be separated from the background. So what I often see in renders, what people do is they add some really dark matte to the background. Like for example, if I add the same matte, you see now the problem is that I can barely see the camera outline, okay? Don't do that, because what you want to separate your object from a background. So either do it with light or do it with material. Like for example, in this case, in this graphite steel case, this is dangerous because, well, I could rename this to like, you know, let's say 4, and then I could just brighten it up a bit or darken it down, right? Do something else with it so it's actually standing out. Yeah, you know, the camera is actually, you know, being, you can clearly see the silhouette of the camera, right? So that's important. And now the lighting. Lighting is pretty bad because we have lighting from the right hand side. So this is, the front of the camera is pretty dark. Also the framing could be a bit better because it's in the middle. Don't put things in the middle, guys. This is so fucking boring. Offset this motherfucker, yeah? Watch some really good movies, okay? How movies are handling this, right? There's always a space here, you know. This is just super boring, okay? This is a rookie mistake. Don't fucking do this shit because it drives me nuts. I'm gonna come up through your monitor and slap you if you do that. So here, give a bit more space here. A bit of space in the top, more space in the bottom. You want it to have some stance, right? But at the same time, you want to show this cut here in the bottom. So maybe zoom it out a bit, just play with it a bit, you know. This should be fine. Don't choke this area here, and you have some space for a logo. You could go closer. So we could go, for example, where's my camera? We could go, for example, here, 135. This could be interesting too, right? It's gonna collapse the perspective a bit more. You could go a wider angle, maybe like, let's say 60, right? Then we're gonna be able to see more of the camera, but then you're gonna have a problem with the background. So you have to adjust that. So there's, you know, a lot of things you can do with camera focal length. But again, when you create a render like this, always think about a negative space here around. Okay, I'm talking a lot about negative space. I'm talking a lot about negative space in the rendering university. If you have problem with composition and rendering, get that course because it's really good. Okay, preferably you should join the Academy program because it's fantastic. The Academy 2.0. Currently we have the Q&A calls as a private server. It's a really good place to learn. So here you got space for a logo in the bottom. To create some, maybe some details about the camera, whatever. Don't leave it completely empty. Do something here like slash the screen, boom, add the logo, whatever. This is not that difficult to do. Now here, what I would do is I would change the lighting, okay, because lighting isn't really that great. Okay, so what I would do, I would change this to one of the Essential Azure Eyes. So the Azure Eyes from Essential, some of them come with the add-on, with our Materialworks add-on, and they're fantastic, as you can see. Very nice lighting. So here we want light from this direction, so let's just rotate it by 180 and see what happens. That is better, but not ideal because I'm getting this light being shined on the back. I want it different, so let me just rotate this and see what we have here. Maybe I shouldn't be using reflective background. Let me try something different here. Materialworks. Let's try one metal. Oh, that's better. That's much better. So that would work. I still could add a reflector here on the other side, so I can reflect the light back onto my model, right? Something like this, right? And make it larger, you see. And thanks to this one, I'm gonna get this model being a bit brighter on the other side. So if I make it darker or brighter, I can regulate, you know, can adjust how much light I want to be dropped on the other side, right? Because if I completely remove this, I have no control, but with this one, I actually have a control over the other side. Now, in this case, to be honest, this is quite fine, but yeah, quite often I'll be adding, you know, a reflector to fix this. So let's see, you know, different angles here, if you can create something a bit more interesting and dramatic. This is kind of cool. I like that, with kind of a slight reflection here. That's a little bit bright, to be honest, but that is kind of cool as well. Maybe that's better. It's a little bit more mellow. We could bump this to 1.1. It's gonna be a bit stronger. The top is a bit dark, but I think that's okay. We could bounce some light from the top here, like this. Yeah, watch. You see what I mean? And then you add a white color, and then you can bounce the light back on the top here, you see? Light bouncing is so important, so when you understand how light works, your render is gonna be on a different level. Okay, and now I think that's good to be rendered. So my settings for the render are insane. So, you know, don't follow me if you don't want to break your legs. Now this one should be 16, by the way, and that's good. You should be fine with like 12, 8, 8, you know, 8, 8, but I'm just going overkill because I honestly don't care. So let's just render this and see what happens. So yes, we need to remove the guide mesh from render because it's gonna render. So there you go. By the way, if you don't see these options here, you can enable them here. This means that it's invisible in a scene, that's invisible in render. Quite important tools for rendering. Okay, well, that's our render. That looks actually really decent. This could be a little bit lower though. Also, we have a shading problem here because I forgot to add weighted normals. So let's just weighted normals to all these pieces, right? And this should be better. Now this frame could be a bit lower. So let's go to camera and move it on x-axis, on y-axis here, holding shift, add a little bit more space there. I think it's gonna be a bit better, but that's just me. Let me see. Yeah, that's a bit better. That is looking really, really cool. I like it. And again, what I could do, you know, in Photoshop, in fact, fuck it, I'm just gonna show you. So let's just save this as a TIFF. You want to save it as a TIFF, not a PNG, and no deflation here on the desktop, and save image. So now I'm going to go to Photoshop and show you how I would edit this to make it interesting, to kind of fill this space here, because that's important. You need to understand how to operate with negative space. Negative space is important for anything, rendering, modeling, designing, everything, okay? Again, the concept of negative space is been talked about very deeply in Rendering University. You should get that course if you don't have it, because it really is good. And it will teach you a lot of stuff about composition, lighting, and all these things that most people have no fucking clue about. So here, make a selection. And I'm not being a dick, I'm just being direct, because, you know, I see renders on the internet, 99% of them is garbage. So here we're going to make a selection. 1, 2, there we go. And make a selection. Boom. And let me see that now. So we're going to go with black, right? But we're gonna drop it down, so make it gray. Let me just move this with shift. Maybe it's too deep. I want to give a little bit more space here because I kind of feel like I'm choking this camera, yeah? I think this is gonna be a bit better. Yeah, that's better, I think. Maybe a bit closer. See, what I'm looking at now is I'm looking at the negative space. I'm looking at empty space around the camera if I'm not choking this this opening here. I'm not looking at the object, I'm looking at the negative space. I'm looking at empty space and the design of empty space, and that's what you need to be aware of. So here Yeah, we could go with Kusa Optics, for example. I know it doesn't match with a T-Seg, but you know, who gives a shit? So go with Kusa Optics or something like that. And you could do something really, really cool. Watch this. All right, so here what we're going to do is we're going to slice this decal and go with a darker gray here and whiter here. So whiter color. So we're going to grab this color and put it in here, and we're going to grab this color and put it in here. Okay, so we need to slice this image in two, right? So we're going to control click that and then Control J, and then we're going to control click that and shift Control I to invert it and Control J, and we're gonna turn off this one. So now we got two bits of the puzzle, okay? And we're gonna have this one. We're gonna sample color here with brush. So Alt click and I'll delete. No, this one. This one. This one's gonna be brighter, right? Boom. And this one is gonna be darker. So sample here, right? And I'll delete. Boom. And I got this cool sort of you know, graphics here. So that would work. And I think this is pretty peachy. If that's, you know, too much for you, what you could do, another way you could do this is something like this. Actually pretty cool too. So we could grab that and, you know, create an opening here like this, maybe a bit smaller, yeah, and then put it above, sample this color, and I'll delete to create something like that. That's also cool, right? Or you could just move it across the whole thing, so extend it, right? You can just play with the design. I think this is actually pretty cool. I kind of like that. This Kusa maybe could be a little bit more in this direction. Do you know what I mean? Something like this, maybe. I think that's pretty cool. So anyway, that's it, guys. And then, you know, then you want to edit it, right? So let's just edit it. Editing really easy. I'm using paid plugin from Nick Collection, which is really good. I'm adding some clarity, opening shadows, because when you add clarity, things are gonna get darker. Don't make things too dark, yeah? You're gonna be looking stupid. People usually add global contrast to everything and it looks like shit. Don't do it. You have to be subtle and selective with your filters, okay? And then here, let's reset that. Let's just, you see, like when I add too much, it's gonna be too contrasty. You wanna be careful, okay? And you also wanna open the shadows when you add this contrast to go easy on that here. And we could go with cross processing to add some color to it. I don't know yet what. That looks pretty cool, not gonna lie. This one, that was like a shot from a magazine. I like that. Let's see that. Boom, and we're done, right? So there you go, guys. That's it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Like I said, remember that, you know, there is a free course for you, Jumpstart Hand Surface for Blender. It's fantastic for beginners. It will teach you a lot of different techniques, so you can, you know, merge them together to create something like this very easily. But you need to have foundations, so grab it. The link in your video description. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.